All right. So, hello everyone. Alan's getting his second COVID shot, so he will be immune soon. Anyway, today we wanted to talk about appraisals. So, we're getting a lot of our sellers, and you guys have heard in the marketplace that people, when they go to put an offer in, they're going way above what the asking price is. And honestly, it's getting into like an appraisal issue. So appraisals we have been seeing them come back pretty high, but sometimes they don't come back as high as what the offer is. And so as the sellers and the seller's agent, we want to capture as much money as we can for the seller. So I have 6 tips for you to let's make that happen, okay, from the seller's point of view. So the first tip is sometimes the appraisal can be waived. So actually, let me back up. So what an appraisal is it is the bank sends a third party, an appraiser, to evaluate the property and say, what is this actually worth? And it's the bank that wants to make sure that they are lending the buyer on a property that it's a good investment. And so that's why they do that. It is something that the buyer pays for. So sometimes the appraisal can be waived. So if you have a really high offer and the appraisal can be waived, that's a great option. It can be waived if there's cash, and a lot of times if people are paying cash, they do waive it. And in some very few circumstances of conventional financing, I've never seen it waived on any other kind of financing though. So that's one thing. It doesn't really happen very much. The second thing is a lot of people don't realize that let's say the property is, we think the most it will go for is 300,000. Like, we don't think it will go for more, but let's say they want to sweeten the deal and the highest offer you have is maybe 320. Well, the buyer they can put the offer in at 300. They can offer to pay some of the seller closing costs. That way, if the property does not appraise, the seller is still capturing those closing costs, not out of their pocket, they're coming out of the buyer pocket. And I've noticed that a lot of agents really haven't done this strategy, but it's one that can work. They need to talk to the buyer's lender first to make sure, but it definitely can work. What a lot of agents are doing is they are agreeing that the buyer will pay the gap from the appraised value to the offer, and they'll maybe do a certain amount because this will have to be cash by the buyer. And the buyers only have so much cash because they're bringing cash for the down payment and things like that. So they have to make sure that they have enough cash. You can also do, so that's the third thing, is paying the gap in the appraisal. Now, sometimes in the contract in Hamilton County, and actually I think all of our counties in Cincinnati, we have the way the taxes get paid is taxes are paid in arrears. And so often in Hamilton County, they're like a year behind, 6 months or a year behind. So what happens at closing is the seller gives the buyer a credit for the time that the seller lived in the property. But on the contract in Cincinnati, there is a checkbox that says a short proration, which means that the seller would not have to give the buyer a credit. So depending on how much your taxes are each half, that's a lot of money. So especially if you live in like Springfield Township where the taxes are super high, but that is another way for the seller to capture money regardless of what it appraises out for. So that could be one place. And then another thing that a lot of other states do, and this is the fifth tip, is a lot of other states will do a non-refundable earnest money deposit, which in Cincinnati and in Northern Kentucky, we don't generally do. But if that could be an idea, because then if they do like a high earnest money and it's non-refundable, then these buyers are really in it, and it will mitigate some of the loss by the seller if for some reason it doesn't appraise out or the property doesn't close. Now, the sixth tip is not necessarily about appraisal. A house is not appraising, but what it is about terms. So in every offer, it's price and terms. It's not always about the price. So if we know that the house is only the most it will appraise for is 300,000, but the seller wants to occupancy post closing for a couple weeks or a month, that also has some value. So the buyers can offer that too. So I thought we'd come on, give you these 6 tips. We want you to feel comfortable and know that there are lots of ways to get you as the seller what you want for the house, and also get some terms that you want too. Just give us a call if you're interested in selling. Our number is 513-646-1488. And of course, reach out if you have any questions. And my cell is 513-400-1691, or you can do it on our Facebook page. Thanks. Bye.